Hi everyone, this is Shriya.
And this is Sukanya.
And we are back with yet another episode of Intersectional Feminism Desi Style Season 3, brought to you by Feminism in India.
Today, as we record this episode, we are in a context where Roger Federer has just played his last match, and the internet is full of responses to how narratives on mental health and gender roles shift when sports persons, and I mean men, openly embrace their emotions. This also prompts us to think of how generally sports is a field where display of aggressive enthusiasm, so to say, is expected from athletes. And the whole idea of how a sports person should be is constructed from a very masculine perspective, where even men are required to perform hypermasculinity to be taken seriously. So sports is also a career choice which a lot more individuals are pursuing today compared to older times. We are also witnessing the entry of numerous female and queer athletes into various sports where they not only are playing but also thriving and shining. So in this background, it's quite intriguing to us to understand what it means to be a woman in sports. Does she also have to embrace the hypermasculine construct of how a sports person should be? Does she get paid fair wages? What does she do if she encounters a crisis at her workplace, and who does she take this up with? These are all questions that we would like to know, and these are all things that we would like to talk about to a woman in sport.
So, to discuss all of this and a lot more, we have with us a very, very special guest. She's an Indian para-badminton athlete. Her name is Manasi Joshi, which all of you must have heard. Manasi is the current world champion, a pioneer and a change maker in para sports. She started her sporting journey in 2015, and in 2020 she was ranked world number 2 in women's singles in the SL3 category. As of March 2022, she's ranked world number 1 in women's singles in SL3 category. Manasi was also listed as the Next Generation Leader 2020 by Time magazine in October 2020, and she appeared on their Asia cover, making her the first para athlete in the world and the first Indian athlete to be featured on the magazine's cover. She's also been a big advocate for rights of women and people with disabilities. We're so excited and honored to have you here with us, Manasi.
Hi Shriya, hi Sukanya. Thank you to FII for having me. I am really excited to be part of this podcast.
So, Mansi, let's just delve into the conversation. The first thing that I would like to start off is by asking you what made you choose badminton and how has your journey been so far? I mean, in terms of the support from family, in terms of support around you, infrastructure, social support, etc. As a woman venturing into sport, how has it been and what has made you stick?
Well, I never wanted to become a sports person. I was always into sports was one hobby that I was pursuing. I had finished my engineering. I graduated and in the year 2010 from University of Mumbai. And one day on my way to work, I met with an accident. This is 1 year after my graduation. My life took a U-turn. I lost I had to undergo an amputation because of that accident. And after few surgeries and 45 days of hospitalization, when I came back home, I decided that now I want to restart everything. I had to relearn how to walk, how to do all the basic activities again. And in that, sports helped me in regaining the lost confidence. It helped me regain my balance. It also helped me find a very different path for myself. In the year 2012, I never knew that I am going to choose badminton in future and I'm going to be known as a world champion. But then this was the sport that framed my identity earlier in my childhood. And it has given me an opportunity to explore the newfound different life in a very positive manner. The support that I've got from my doctors, from my prosthetist, from nurses, from housekeeping staff, to my teachers, my college professors, to my colleagues, to my co-workers, to my friends, and that is school friend, college friend, building friends. I mean, everyone has been tremendous, and I wouldn't have been here without them. Recently I've found some great support from my sponsors, from government, and from federation. So I think I have been blessed to get this kind of support and get an opportunity to play a sport, pursue a sport, and represent our country at international level, and not only represent but also strive to be the best and become a world champion. So I mean, the journey has been full of ups and downs, but only because of the support system that I've had, I'm able to venture through, navigate, and just enjoy the benefits that sports is giving me currently.
Mansi, I feel like, this is such a, it's very nice and heartwarming to hear, especially as women. We know while women in sports, like in the past decade or so, or the last 2 decades, we've seen more and more women venture into sports. But we also have to practically, when we think of it practically, we have to we also see that there is that bias. There exists a gender bias in sports. So in terms of that, I wanted to ask you, Mansi, as a woman and also as a para athlete, there were 2 levels of things that you needed to navigate your way to in order to do what you want to do. So how did you do that, and did you receive the full support in regards to training, equipments, and resources that you need for your training? How has it been? Have you faced bias? How have you navigated it? So if you could tell us.
Well, it has been difficult, but I'll tell you that India has been doing extremely well in terms of winning medals at international level. And women have been performing extremely well, be it Sindhu, be it Mirabai Chanu, be it Sakshi Mal. I mean, there are n number of examples that we can give where women have been performing better or winning medals. But I don't think medal is the count of, medal is the measure to say how far the sport has gone or has reached. Definitely, India is doing great. I mean, I right now train at an academy where there is an equal proportion of women and like young girls and boys training, pursuing badminton as a career option. And this has only been made possible by the support that the sport is able to bring in. And thus the people who have been involved in getting into sports are reaping the benefits. But as a para athlete, let me just restructure my statement that no, the support that everybody gets is very different at grassroots and at elite level. I wish as para athletes, we would be getting more and more support from our state and local bodies with more accessible infrastructure, with coaches and trainers dedicated to para sports. I personally felt that when I started with playing badminton, I went to a lot of coaches in Mumbai, Gujarat, and everybody were very kind when I would go and meet them. I was like, I want to win a medal. I'm really good at badminton. My brother was a badminton player, so we would both train playing badminton together. And I had reached to a particular level, and I wanted to do better now. And that I could only do with the support of professional coaches. I went to a lot of coaches, and everybody would just tell me, yeah, Mansi, we will be very happy to train you. That's great. But I felt I would get ghosted after some time. And one day when I met Gopi sir, I said, sir, I want to come and train in Hyderabad. And he's like, yeah, you can come and train anytime. So when he said this, after 1 or 2 months, I bought a ticket to Hyderabad and landed. I just told that, sir, you remember you said that you can train, I can come anytime. So I've come, and thank you for allowing me to train. And there I was in 2018, packing my bags, living in a hotel and starting training. At that time, I thought that I want to, I had left my IT career. I had saved some money, and I thought I want to put this whole money into my sports and see how much my body can help my body can support me for the next 2 years, next 2 to 3 years. And well, it paid me well. I worked extremely hard. I also got in 2017, I've got support from a corporate called as Wellspun. I was supported by the CSR scheme, which helped me fund a few of my tournaments. In 2018, I got support from another corporate through the CSR, which funded my training for my whole Asian Games journey and World Championships until now. Both the companies have been very happy to support me, and I am very happy to receive their support. I also felt that, because of my disability, when I joined the academy here in Hyderabad, I was the only person with disability training there, and everybody was just learning how to help me, how to train me in the best possible way with the limited resources that we had. And I think the coaches that we have here understood the requirement and need, and the trainers changed the whole training routine to help to an adapt. They adapted it to my disability and helped me use the machines and equipment that we had. Sometimes we modified our exercises because after attaining disability, I learned that you don't need expensive gym equipments to become a champion. In COVID, I realized that by just in your training at your home, you can still attain your maximum fitness levels. So the support that I've received till now has been possible by me asking for it, me speaking up about it, and me writing to organizations and people that yes, this is the type of support I require, and if anybody is available, anybody has, I would tell my friends that I'm looking for sponsorships. If you know people who can help me and guide me, please let me know. So in the sense that I had people who would help me by going out. And at one point in 2017, I remember I had done crowdfunding. I had done crowdfunding 2 times to fund my sports career. One was offline and one was online on Keto. So I think the bias, the support, the bias is definitely there, but it can be broken. You can definitely navigate it by speaking up about it and telling people that this is the change that is required. And when I said that, because of when I was the only person with disability and people didn't know how to train, they educated themselves on what should be done, how it should be done. And I think this is how change happens, right? And I feel going out from your comfort zone. I actually went out of my comfort zone. I booked my tickets for the next city, started living alone in an unknown city, navigating the whole transport system and everything in the city. So I think that has till now helped me.
Right, Mansi, you just mentioned about how when you joined training, you were the only person with disability who was availing training, and how the whole system, how trainers and everybody else had to also learn how to train someone with this kind of requirement. So I would also want to ask you that, do you feel that sports persons or athletes with disabilities, even when we say that para-athletes are welcome and that everybody is welcome to realize their potentials and that everybody has a space and everybody can avail things, like you said, you also mentioned about how you had to ask, which is why you were provided with a lot of things. So do you feel that we are really that inclusive when it comes to candidates with who require special kinds of training and special kinds of facilities? Do you feel that do you feel that inclusivity remains a buzzword mostly? What do you feel about this?
Well, if I pick up the words that you just mentioned, yes, as even now, it is just inclusivity is a buzzword. I had to go extremely, extremely out of my comfort zone, write a lot, call people a lot just to get my things done. And I don't think everybody is that privileged to have their voice heard. And I don't think people from all the spaces. Like I consider myself privileged to be having that kind of a support system, but I don't think everybody else is. And I don't feel that I felt as if it's just because of privilege and because of my educational background that I could venture through it. But if there are rules in place, if there are policies in place, then I don't think anybody will have to ask for it. It will be just provided to. And that is what I'm looking forward in the future. And I'll tell you one more thing. In 2018, I was the only person with disability at the academy. I was very, I would always tell I'd always tell Gopi sir that, sir, we should have more and more people at the academy. Let us, there should be more, let us have more, let us give more opportunities to everyone. And right now there are almost 20 para athletes training here at the academy. In 2019, when I was invited at KBC for one as a special guest, I made the whole donation that I received, and I made that whole donation to the academy. And there are sometimes it's just financial crunch. Sometimes it's just a thought that people have to put into. But I felt as if because I was able to speak about it, that people actually understood. And I won't just say it was just me who did it, but then it was just like the whole ecosystem who understood the need for it. And right now there are so many athletes playing and training. And I've recently, one of the athlete who's training there has become my mixed doubles partner. And right now we have been ranked number 2 in the world. Just a few weeks back, we were ranked number 1 in the world. So we have been, and because we train together, we are doing really well. And one more athlete who's at the academy, she's my women's doubles partner. And we have just played 2 tournaments, but we have made it to finals in both of them. And so we are world number 5. So I thought, what I want to tell is that if there are more opportunities, and parasport is so inclusive, like sports is so inclusive. There are parasports, there are sport for all ages, for all disabilities and abilities. I think we should learn from how inclusive a sport is. Let all ecosystem around us learn from sports and become inclusive, and let then there be academies who understand the need for inclusion and start having more and more athletes with disability in their regular annual intake.
Right. I completely agree with this, Mansi, because like personally being someone who's been a sports, like I've been interested in watching and following different sports as a kid. I think it sort of gives you like how when you said that you started playing badminton after the accident, gave you a sort of ground, like it helps you find your ground. I think for the people who play as well as for people who watch it, and I think it sort of gives you a sense of calm when you watch a sport. So talking about that, and you also talked about the fact that a lot of athletes do not have the same privilege that you had to access the resources, to access the financial resources, or all sort of administrative resources. So do you think, especially when it comes to para sports, and you mentioned this earlier, that at the grassroots level, there's like a major lag, there's a major gap that needs to be filled. So how do you see that, how do you see that getting filled or that working out? Because like people start playing or people start enrolling at a younger, once athletes start enrolling at a younger age and get the resources, then they will be able to, come up and do the things. For a lot of people who do not have the same amount, same financial privileges, or might come from marginalized sections. So grassroots then become the state level, state infrastructure then becomes a very important thing. So how do you think, like for para athletes, grassroots level work, how do we get better?
You know what? There is a lot of difference between now. I'll talk about able-bodied sports and para sports over here, and grassroots, only grassroots. So grassroots for anybody and able-bodied sports, it starts from, it is differentiated by age. like a child under 10, under 12, under 15, under 17, under 18, and seniors. It's like this is how your badminton kind of has classification. That is a grassroots. A child develops from age, and from that age they grow, and by the some are junior champions, some are senior champions. So it's completely based on age. But when we are talking about para athletes, the grassroots is completely different. It not only starts from age, but it also starts from, I'll say, age of disability. Like I became a disabled person when I was 22. There are people who might have a disability because of some traumatic injury or due to some illness or cancer or any such illness, right? Now that can happen at any time. And parasport is completely inclusive. We have sportsperson, international top athletes who are even in their 50s and still reigning as top athletes in the world. Now, when we talk about support at the grassroots level, as I said, it starts with age of disability. The first thing we require is a physiotherapist support for this group who has a disability. Some might have a birth defect, some might have disability very early in childhood, some have, like, I'm sure now polio is getting obsolete, but yes, in a country like India, we do have people, young girls and boys still having polio and a disability which it's none of our, like, it's not a fault of us, right? Whoever we are disabled, but it's not a fault of us. What I want to share here is the support that we require at this grassroots in para athletics or para sports is we can have that only after government's interference also. Now a lot of corporates are coming up with a lot of CSR support, but kidhar de wo paisa, kisko de? Are there other academies for inclusive? Are there other training centers that train people with disabilities? And everybody wants to contribute. I'm like, after I have become a para athlete, I've understood that everyone feels they want to contribute to our development. But I wish there are more and more centers set up for para athletes exclusively, or para athletes get included into the centers which are currently functioning into the current training programs. Then we can say that grassroots support has started happening. Let there be more physiotherapists who understand the different muscle groups that works that can be trained for different disabilities. And it's a huge spectrum. When we are talking about disability in itself is a spectrum. There is, and para athletics and para sports has sports for people with blindness, with people with locomotor disability, to people with like any other visual impairment, to hearing impairment, to I'll say it is inclusive of different disabilities. But I really wish to see more and more centers being set up for training more and more disabled athletes.
Absolutely. So I also want to ask you, Manasi, as a woman para-badminton athlete, do you feel that there is a gender pay gap that exists in the sport? Like Shriya also mentioned earlier, that you have a sort of double jeopardy in the sense that your gender already marginalizes you, and you're also a para athlete in that sense, trying to make her space and trying to ask for the resources and the things that you require, like you mentioned. So do you feel that there is a wage gap or gender pay gap when it comes to sport generally? And what has your experience been when it comes to asking for payment, and are there raised eyebrows? How do you deal with it?
Trust me, we do not get paid when we play or compete or we win a medal. Or the only thing that we win after we win a medal is a medal. That's it. So if you ask, and this is in para sports, and it's for male and female both. So if I talk about gender pay gap, I won't say it's for gender, it's disability pay gap. I'm sure our sport is becoming more and more inclusive with having multiple tournaments all over the world in different continents and different countries. But to attain the maximum professionalism, playing the para sport and earning money through para sports, I think it's going to take some time. I don't know if I will be able to see that kind of change in my playing career. But nonetheless, I wish to see that change where we get paid to win a medal and we then call ourselves as professional athletes. But I also, now if I ignore this point, let me put a new point across to you in terms of how we get paid. There are times when some company would come to us and they'd ask us to promote or become their ambassadors. What I have recently realized is that athletes with disability get the minimum amount, and the companies would just say that at least we're paying you. We generally like you might be the first athlete, so at least we're paying you. And I'm always with raised eyebrows that, hey, I'm dedicating my complete hours into playing a sport. And if you want me to promote your product or promote your anything, at least give me the pay that you pay to anybody else. It's always, yes, like this discussion is, I mean, I don't know, it's just really sad that we as athletes with disability, whenever women win medals, give good coverage than other athletes, but at the end of the day, the amount of money that we get paid it's like nothing. Almost like it's one of the lowest in other athletes who receive it.
Now that you say this, for myself and also for a lot of other athletes, especially para athletes and people with disabilities who are trying to find ways to channelize their, like you said, look at this new way of living that they have been thrust into for whatever reason. For all of them, and also for me personally, to see a para athlete like you coming to terms, like you said, your disability is something that happened to you way later into your life, and you have tried to make you've tried to look at life and see what skills you can use and how you can find that balance. I just want to, if it's okay for me to ask, and if you're comfortable answering, I just want to know, how do you harness that strength? Where does that emotional strength come from? I'm sure it gets lonely listening to you, because there are so many hurdles that you have to battle, so many things that you have to constantly keep asking for. And then there's also this huge event that has changed your life. And it's very inspirational. And I'm sure inspirational stories are written about you. Everybody looks at you and we feel a lot of pride, and we feel very, very elated to see this. But within all that, how do you come to terms with it? Where do you harness that strength from?
I think as I said, when you asked me the first question, it's only because of the support that I've received from my first is family. My family has been extremely supportive of the choice that I made, of a bold decision that I took of leaving a paid job and just venture into something which is just getting nothing out of it initially. But then I have found my ways to make money in this field. Definitely there's a huge cost, and I talk about the huge cost. There's a cost of prosthetics, there's cost of training, it's the cost of navigating the transportation system, inaccessible transport system in any other city, and then the cost of playing a tournament, it's visas, your flight tickets, your hotels, everything. I talk about it, and somehow, like I also I take help from my sponsors who who just take care of all these expenses. How I make money is I recently, like in 2019, I got an job on sports quota from Bharat Petroleum. So usually all PSUs, they hire athletes from different sports. Bharat Petroleum was first public sector unit to hire disabled sports person into their workforce. We were 2 athletes who were hired. For that, now I get a monthly income, but I don't have to go to office till I am active sports person. I make money by giving speeches to colleges. Like of course, I don't charge colleges or schools or anyone. When people want me to talk about, the journey inspiring young students, but I definitely charge corporates when I share my story. I sometimes pick up assignments, like if I'm doing some social media, like help other companies. If somebody's approaching me through my social media, they want to put anything on my social media, I do that. So we have done something with Uber, we have done something with Anflix, multiple other some of the other company. And I think everybody can do that. I mean, I don't think I'm very special in any way. I just feel it's only because of the support that I've been receiving that I've been able to do this. If I would not have been getting that kind of support, I would just have been living or just getting a different paid job and living even that in the best possible way, of course. And as I said, no, like I am no special and everybody can do it. It's not like only because I have been able to navigate this that I must have some special powers. I am no special and anybody can do it. It's just that I've got great support from people around me that I've been able to do this. And the strength is always, I think we all are strong enough. And I don't want to make this too inspirational because seriously, like I'd love to see myself not as an inspirational person, but just an athlete with a disability in the sports column and not any inspirational column in any magazine. But yes, I've realized that anybody and everybody has a strength to navigate whatever hardships that we have been facing. And it's just, we just need to take some time and understand and just make a plan and shoot the first email. It's just, there are people who are there reading your emails. If not reading your first email, then reading your a follow-up email. So I have been doing just that.
I think your journey, while it is like you said that you've done what you had to do and you did it, and like you saying that you don't want to be an inspiration rather than you're doing what you want to do for the sport that you love so much and want to follow. Just one last question that I wanted to ask Manasi, like in the recent past, especially in the past couple of years, a lot is being talked about, in terms of mental health in sports, which is something that I think sports persons were earlier just seen as these robots who are just going to go play for the country, win medals, win prizes, and come back, not seeing them as humans and individuals with feelings who go through stuff, who are also like living, talking, breathing human beings. It is looked at as, their only job in the entire, in their existence is to win for the country. But now with more and more people, especially in the last Olympics, there were a lot of athletes who spoke up and said that they want to take a step back. In cricket, it's happening. In all sports, slowly mental health, conversations around mental health and emotional well-being is being talked about. In terms of that, Manasi, what do you think, how important do you think that conversation is, and when it comes to para sports, then where does it, that emotional support and well-being and your mental health priority, where does it stand, or how does it affect your game when is it important to take that step back? Like, could you like tell us a little bit about it?
Well, mental health is number one priority. It's just as important as your physical fitness, mental fitness and physical fitness. Previously, people would just say 90-10. Right now, it's like 50-50. Now, I'm very happy that there are athletes who are speaking up about it. There's Simone Biles. There's recently Sindhu also speaking up about it. And there are multiple female athletes who I have seen talk about the importance of mental health in sports. As a para athlete, I'll say that many of my teammates have been through a lot of life changing traumas and injuries, and now they are again changing a lot of changing their complete lifestyle to pursue a sport. It is definitely challenging with the minimum support that we get, the things we navigate in family, in pursuing a sport. Definitely it takes a huge toll on your mental health, and I want to see that kind of priority also for para sports. I do see that there are sessions happening for para athletes on mental health. Sports Authority of India is having their online sessions to help athletes. The high performance centers at various in various cities have their own mental fitness coach for athletes. My sponsor Wellspin is now training. Like when I became an athlete with Wellspun, we were just first 3 athletes in 2017, and right now more than 40 women athletes have been supported by Wellspun Foundation through their CSR, and they have recently enrolled a mental health expert to help us understand the different intricacies in sport and how to stay focused with the number of extreme or sometimes hostile environment that sometimes we're put into. So I think people are prioritizing mental health now of athletes. I want to see more and more athletes sharing their stories, personal stories out in the world. And if not in media, then on their own social pages to tell the people that, hey, we are just not robots. We are people with feelings just like you all. And yes, we have a different and hectic lifestyle, but we do take out time and enjoy. And we do prioritize our mental health.
Right. I think it's so beautifully summed up because, as a woman, as a para athlete, as someone who is at the top of her career, I'll take the liberty to say that because you are at the top of your career. It is so important to also sometimes remind yourself that your mental health is important. And I feel like you've summed it up very well. Social media, while it does have its, there's one part which might not be the not so good part, but it does also sort of humanize these you tend to idealize sports person, but then their social media presence also tends to humanize. They think that they are also people, they also have feelings, they also feel bad, they also feel happy. So I think it's just been such a great conversation, Manasi. I speak for both me and Sukanya here. I think we've learned so much about not just about how you have navigated the sports, but so much that needs to be done, so much more that needs to be done in order to make an ecosystem which is a lot more inclusive, while in smaller ways, not just we always see the bigger picture, but there are like smaller pictures that make a bigger picture. So I think like the conversation you've talked about, as a woman, as an athlete who's a woman, as a athlete who's also worked through her disability and has come to where it is, come to where you are right now. I think it's been extremely enlightening and extremely heartwarming to talk to you about gender and sports and disability, and thank you so much for taking up the time to have this conversation with us.
Thank you, Shriya. Thank you, Sukanya, for your very well-worded and very beautiful questions, and for this free-flowing conversation where I could open up myself and talk to you about my journey. Thank you to FII for giving me a space to share my opinions and my story and journey with all of you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Manasi. Thank you. We had a wonderful time talking to you. To our listeners, that was all for today. We will be back again with yet another episode and yet another guest next to next Thursday on Intersectional Feminism Desi Style Season 3, brought to you by Feminism in India on all your favorite streaming platforms. Till then, stay tuned and stay safe. Bye.